Hello and welcome, this is Cheryl. Thank you so much for joining me today. In this video, I'm sharing some more mixed media styled cards using the Muse Maker collection from Lisa Horton Crafts. This is the third installment of the collection. We have the Fluttered line stamp set, the Weathered grid stamp set, and I'm also bringing in the Shattered Affection stamp set that I used in a previous video. I will also link that previous video at the end of this one to share some more ideas. Now, I haven't used either of these two stamp sets before, so the very first thing I do is use a white eraser on the stamping surface. This just removes any possible manufacturing residue and helps the stamp take ink just a little bit better. I'm doing both of them at once. Now, because I'm creating some mixed media style cards, I'm creating some backgrounds that have water used on them. So I'm going to be using some mixed media Heavystock here for those backgrounds. You could also use watercolor cardstock, that would work. It would be a little bit different, and I like the mixed media Heavystock because it's nice and smooth. So I'm doing these main images on the mixed media Heavystock, and I'm going to heat emboss them with some gold embossing powder. I'm using some matte blending inks for my background, and I thought the gold embossing powder would be a nice contrast to the matte blending ink finish. I'm also going to be bringing in Lisa's gold pad for more of the details. So I'm using some embossing powder tool on my background. I'm going to stamp these images with embossing ink, and I'm going to heat emboss those with some superfine embossing powder. These stamps have a lot of detail in that background, and I want to get as much of that detail as possible. So I do find that the superfine embossing powder is definitely helpful for getting those details. Once I have the images stamped, I'm going to pour that onto that image with a piece of scrap paper to catch all of those extras. And then I'm going to use my heat tool to emboss and melt that powder right onto that cardstock. I'm going to do the 3 images at once, and then I'm going to start working on the backgrounds, completing each card as I go. So when you're working with embossing powder, it goes from like a rough granular look to a nice shiny glossy smooth look. That's how you can tell that everything is completely embossed, and you want to make sure that everything is totally embossed before we work on our backgrounds. Otherwise, anything not heated and not embossed is just going to fall off that cardstock. So the first one is done. I'm going to do the same thing for the next 2 images. Exactly the same process, using these stamps or positioning the stamps on the cardstock, using a little bit of embossing powder tool to make sure that embossing powder only sticks to the stamped image. I'm going to ink that stamp with the embossing ink, and then I'm going to use that superfine powder on it and heat emboss it. Now, to add a little bit of extra dimension and detail to these cards, I'm going to use the same 3 images, stamp them and emboss them all at once on another piece of mixed media Heavystock. Now for these images, I'm focusing on the butterfly in the images. I want to make sure that I have a complete butterfly so that I can fussy cut them and add them on as an extra detail onto the background of our cards. Now I did use the gold embossing powder for this as well. You could certainly use an opposite color if you wanted to even have it pop more. You could use white embossing powder, but because the only other thing in our cards that's white is our card bases, I didn't really want to include that, and there was no other color that I really wanted, but you certainly could change it up with that if you want. I set those other butterflies to the side so I can fussy cut them later, and I'm going to start working on my first background. I'm using 3 different mixed media pads. I'm using Anthracite, Rhubarb Jam, and Early Sunrise. Now this is the color combination of the month for April 2026 in the Lisa Horton Crafts Facebook group. I just really liked this color combination, and it's one that I wouldn't come up with myself because I tend not to use oranges or yellows a lot. But in this case, this one has orange with it, and I really loved the color combination together and the look of the colors together, and thought it would really work well for some mixed media cards. I'm using Lisa's 1-inch blending brushes. This makes it really easy to do ink blending on your backgrounds. And I'm trying to cover that entire background with the 3 of the colors, making sure that we can see a little bit of each one of them. If we don't have quite enough color of one, or it's not heavy enough, I can always add a little bit more as I'm working and blending those colors in together. Now those matte blending inks are water reactive, as well as we're working on mixed media Heavystock. So I'm going to use some water in my hand and just splash the water onto the background. It's a really easy way to get some visual texture onto that background just by using water reactive inks. And you can do this as much or as little as you want. I like to have just a little bit of splatter in that background, but you could certainly add more if you wanted to. Then I'm taking that piece and I'm trimming it down to 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. I'm going to take a piece of white cardstock and trim it to 4 4 inches by 5¼ inches for my mat in just a moment, but I want to add a little bit more visual texture to that background. I'm using the Weathered Grid stamp set, one of the stamps from that, and I'm stamping with some anthracite ink around the outside edges. It's just going to give it more texture in that background. Now, another option here would be to stamp it and emboss it. You would definitely want to make sure your background is completely dry. It just depends on the type of texture that you're looking for. I chose to just leave it with the ink because I like the contrast of the blended ink with that stamped ink on the background. And then I also am using that Lisa Horton Gold pad to use another one of the stamps from the Fluttered Lines stamp set for some extra visual texture to my background. Now for my mat, I'm taking that white cardstock and I'm using that gold pad to just rub around the edges to create a mat for my card here. You could use specialty gold cardstock if you wanted, but by using the gold ink that I also used to stamp on my card, I know that my mat is going to blend perfectly. I don't have to worry about trying to match the gold tones or anything. I know it's going to work perfect. Once I have those done off to the side, completely drying, I'm taking the extra butterfly that I stamped and embossed, and I'm using some detailed cutting scissors in order to fussy cut around it. Then I'm using that Early Sunrise ink to color blend, then using the Rhubarb jam just to get some of that color around the outside of those wings. Now for all three of mine, I'm using butterflies on them, and I'm choosing the colors for the butterflies based on what ink is in that area on my card. I want my butterfly to pop out of it, so I'm choosing colors that are not the same as what is on that part of the card. Once I have that ink blended, I can start working on or start assembling my card. So I'm putting that mat on my A2 card base first, then I'm putting my mixed media style front, and then adding that butterfly. Now I like to just bend my wings and only glue the center part of the butterfly so those wings kind of pop up. I don't tend to put anything under those wings. You certainly could add a thin foam pop dot if you wanted to, but I just wanted to have them popped up. It's one of those cards that I probably would hand to someone. I wouldn't really put it in an envelope. If you wanted it to put it in an envelope and to have it support that or the wings popping up, I would definitely add a little bit of a foam pop dot or something underneath there to pop them up on their own. To add a little bit of extra texture, I put some stickles around the outside of those wings. And then I added a sub-sentiment from the So Amazing stamp and die set. This is a heat emboss sentiment that I had left over from a previous project. I left it white for this card so that it would pop out on the background, but you certainly could use some color blending on it if you wanted to blend it into the card a little bit more and have it not quite so prominent on the front. For my second background, I'm just doing a distress style background. I'm taking those pads, smushing them on my surface here. I have a Tim Holtz media mat on my surface, and then I'm misting them with water, dipping my cardstock in the ink, and then using a heated tool to dry it before dipping it in the ink again to add more layers to that ink. For these style backgrounds, there's not really a certain amount of times that you want to dip it in the ink. You're just kind of do it until you like the finish. I've had some times where I dipped it in ink once and I just loved what happened and I left it with that first layer. I've had other times where I've done it like 5 or 6 times. As you dry the ink and then dip it in again, those blotches on the mat get smaller and smaller, so you get a lot more detail and layers on top of each other. And I want to dry it in between those layers because I want to make sure that my inks layer on top of each other and don't just blend with each other. So for this card, I only ended up doing it 2 times. I let it completely dry and then I trimmed that down to 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. Once again, trimming down a piece of white cardstock to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and then taking my Rhubarb jam pad and rubbing it around the outside edges. Once again, you could use colored cardstock here, but by using the ink pad that was used on the background, I know that the color is going to match exactly, and it only takes a little bit of ink around the outside edges. I probably have too much here, but I just want to make sure that it is all completely covered. And again, I know it's going to coordinate perfectly with the ink on my background because it's the same color ink. I used the same color for my butterfly for this card as well as my sub-sentiment, and this one is another sub-sentiment from that So Amazing stamp and die set. You could even use the So part of the So Amazing stamp and die set instead of the stamped sentiment that I added with my background. It really just depends on the final look that you're going for. I liked the sentiment that was in this set and thought it worked well with the butterfly, but I also think extra sentiments on top give you a little bit more versatility as well. So once I have those pieces done, I can glue those to my card bases, let that dry for just a few moments, and then realized that I had missed a step that I had intended to do. So I put my card back on my tacky mat, making sure that my tacky mat was nice and clean, put some scrap paper over my mat and my card base, and then I'm going to stamp on that background with one of the weathered grid stamps. So I want to stamp on there with some gold ink to echo the gold ink that's in my embossing. You could do other colors as well here. When I do these outside edges, I try to make sure that they're not all exactly the same. I try to make it a little bit random. Some areas are a little bit higher in than others, or more in from the outside than others. Some are less, and I try to do them overlapping a little bit. I want it to look random. I don't want it to look like I've stamped in the same pattern over and over. So you can see that I move my stamp around. Another option for random stamping is to not even use an acrylic block, just use the stamp so that you're not even stamping a full image. I find I have a little bit more control when I use a block with it, but it really just depends on the look that you're going for with it. Once I'm done that, I can add my sub-sentiment as well as that butterfly on there. And once again, adding a little bit of stickles to the edges of the butterfly, that just adds another amount of texture. It adds a little bit of sparkle as well as the texture from the glitter. I just like the final look of it. I often do it with butterfly wings as well as the centers of flowers because I just like that added texture that you get. So I put that on the outside of the wings and then let that completely dry. For the last card, we're going to let our stamp create the texture and the ink from the back. So I have the exact same stamp that I used that I heat embossed for the image. I stamped it with that early sunrise ink first. Now I'm stamping it with the Rhubarb jam ink, just doing random bits around that background. Then I'm going to go and change up that stamp for one of the weathered grid stamps, and I'm going to stamp it with the anthracite ink. Now for this, I chose to keep the anthracite ink around the outside edges, but you certainly could put it towards the center and have the orange and the burgundy color towards the outside edges if you want. Once we are done with this background, you're going to see a little bit of the texture from the stamp lines, but you're not going to see a whole lot. This is more for color and to show you how water reactive these inks are. So once again, this is that mixed media Heavystock. I use some spray water on my surface as well as the back so that I can kind of suction it to my surface. And then I spray over the front and you can see exactly how much those inks start to move and how quickly. This is just going to color that background in a little bit of a unique way that you can't really predict how those inks are totally going to move. I did use a paper towel to remove a little bit of the excess moisture and the excess ink. Then I let it completely dry. Now, when I let things completely dry, I kind of watch them. I check after an hour or two. And if all of that ink or all of that water has absorbed, I'll lift it up and just put it on a piece of paper towel so that the air can get to it from below and let it completely dry that way. After having it totally dry, I took some of the accessory stamps from that Fluttered Lines stamp set, stamped one of them with some anthracite. The next one I stamped with that gold pad, put it in random areas around that background. Now another option here would be to use texture paste and use, say, those the mini stencil deck or other stencils to add texture to that background. I opted not to do that for these cards because I wanted the focal to be the embossed image in the center, and I wanted the backgrounds to just kind of be a supporting image to them, but that is also an option if you want. Then I took one of the weathered grid stamps and stamped it with that Rhubarb jam. We're just adding extra texture and adding visual interest to that background when we create this. Now I'm going to take my white cardstock for my mat and trim that to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. The background piece here, I'm trimming down to 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. You could even take that background and do it for the whole card if you want, but I really like the look of a mat around them and how it frames it. For this mat, I'm using that early sunrise because there's not a whole lot of that orange that survived that background, so I wanted to bring that back again with my mat as well as with inking my butterfly. Now this particular butterfly, there's not a lot of open space in it. It's fairly closed with that embossing, but I wanted to have a little bit of that orange popping in those open spaces. Then I chose to do the same ink for the sub-sentiment for this card, and now we're ready to assemble them. So for these cards, the thing that took the longest really was waiting for layers to dry when I used lots of water. The first card, there was very little water to it, so there wasn't a whole lot of drying time, but the second two, there was a lot more. You can use the Heat It tool to help speed it up, but for this particular background, this last one here, I kind of like the look of it when it dries totally naturally because I tend to use a lot of water for that. So once I have my layers assembled, I can add my sub-sentiment and then my butterfly, and then use the stickles once again on the wings to add that extra little bit of texture. So all three of these cards, you can see they have very similar looks to them, but the backgrounds were created in three completely different ways. But it just goes to show that many different techniques can give you some similar visual interest. Neither one is necessarily right or wrong. They just have different looks to them, but I think they look really, really cool. And I always loved the mixed media style for how visually interesting the backgrounds are. You can find everything that I've used listed and linked down in the description box below. And once again, I'll link to the other video I created using the Muse Maker collection to create some more mixed media style cards. However, they've got a completely different vibe than this one because I used different products with them. I love the fact that you can get mixed media style with so many different things. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate the time that you spend with me. I hope you have a fantastic day.